here, I'll ask for your input if you're not in here. It's totally cool, man. Moving on to the offensive side of the ball with the 11 personnel here. This is what PFF has listed from left to right on the offensive line. They've got Rasheed Walker, 68.7, Aaron Banks, 65.4, Elton Jenkins, 65.7, Jordan Morgan, 59.2, although, somewhat minimal snaps there. They didn't have a ranking. And then Zach Tom, 85.8. My God, man. Sixth highest graded tackle in the league. Emilio, when you look at this offensive line, dude, the big one, you look at Aaron Banks, go, is he worth all that money? I mean, he was the 33rd highest graded guard, but he only gave up one sack last year, I believe they said. So obviously they're prioritizing pass blocking with a big body guy that can move as well. I mean, there's plenty of footage of him in Kyle Shanahan's zone blocking scheme, just like similar to what we run. Getting out in front, getting to the next level, digging out backers and safeties out of the secondary. So what do you think of that O-line, though? I feel like that's probably what it's going to look like if they do get the contract thing situated, right?
I think so as well. And I mean, I've been saying it from the beginning. We need to build that wall up front, protect J Love, protect Josh Jacobs. The fact that wall is now the biggest and thickest that it's been for I don't know how long. Like we haven't had offensive line with this kind of size.
Thick.
And I think Mike and Wes were talking about it. Like Brooks was saying, he blocked for Christian McCaffrey. The line is also going to help Josh Jacobs. He had 1,300 yards last year. You get a line that really starts road grading, starts opening some holes for him, so he doesn't have to fight through each time. I mean, this thing could really start humming. Protect Jordan Love at all costs and just clear holes for Josh Jacobs. That's all I'm asking you to do. It doesn't have to be perfect, but again, let's hold the line. Let's work on the silent count and keep the penalties to a minimum. I would be completely happy with this line. If we can get Josh Jacobs over 1,500 yards and J Love, throwing for his 35 to 4,000 and sacked only a handful, 20, 25 times, something like that. I'd be ecstatic with what Goody did to bolster it, saying, hey, why, we were all wondering why'd we bring in that guard. But if Brooks does it for us for this year, that's perfect. We'll get the other guys, trained up, learning, and we'll move forward next year. But I think that it was the right idea to get a baseline, just like we did with Hobbs, and then kind of move forward from there.
Yeah, Tim, when you look at this offensive line, the three players that I think are the names you're going to hear the most in the training camp battles when you're out there this summer, boots on the ground, Rasheed Walker, Jordan Morgan, and Anthony Belton. And here's what I mean by that.
Yep.
They're saying that Jordan Morgan and Rasheed Walker are going to be competing for left tackle. Well, if Rasheed Walker wins that battle, which I kind of expect him to, although you would love for your first-round pick to be your left tackle, it feels like Jordan Morgan's going to settle in at right guard. But they're saying that Anthony Belton's going to be competing at right guard with Jordan Morgan and Sean Ryan. No matter who wins that battle, this offensive line got better this offseason. That's exciting because you got more depth now. Now if an Elton Jenkins or a Jordan Morgan or somebody gets hurt, you're going – let's say it wins out like this, Tim, exactly how we got on the screen, okay? If Jordan Morgan goes down with an injury, then you got the starter from last year, Sean Ryan, stepping right in. You see what I'm saying? And you've got Anthony Belton, a second-round pick, who's a mauler, right, who played left tackle that they're looking to flex or to move around inside. You feel really good about the way this offensive line stays. And Jordan Morgan can play tackle in a pinch if for some reason Tom goes down or something,
Absolutely. And I remember when we had the Aaron Banks signing and we kind of speculated right away, like, oh, Elton Jenkins going to center? Is Elton going to center?
Right.
I mean, you bring this guy in and it's like it makes perfect sense. Yeah. You watch the tape on Banks, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's clearly a good move, putting him in there. And then you're right. If something happens, even with Big E, and we got to do a little bit of shuffling, we got guys that can play center, in a pinch, and guys that are being developed to play center on this team. But, to the point about Jordan Morgan, I agree. I would think that he's going to compete for that left tackle spot, but I would fully expect Sheed Walker to keep his job, barring anything crazy. And then, like you said, I agree with your point. Nacho Libre coming off the bench is not the worst thing in the world, right? You can get him, throw him into the fire, and he's been there before. And I don't think he's going to be, like a deer in headlights or anything out there. You can plug and play him really, honestly, maybe even at left guard, either of the guard positions for a guy like Sean Ryan in a pinch.
And then if all else fails, my boy Travis can come right in there and just
There it is.
clean up crew, and we'll be good to go.
There it is.
2-0 for this in the chat says, obviously with Sean Ron, he says, Chancho, I need to borrow some sweats. God, I love Nacho Libre. Hey, Rob in the house. Nacho Libre, you got it, buddy. Man, I'll tell you. If you guys have not seen the movie Nacho Libre, if I were to describe to you what that movie is about, you go, I'm not wasting my time watching that stupid movie until you watch it, and you're going to be repeating the lines for weeks. It is so good, man. It's so good. So Jack Black at his prime.
And if you have not seen Rob Westerman's podcast, make sure you go watch his stream as well. Shout out GBP all day.
I will say that Nacho Libre does not compare to Rob Westerman's content. I promise you that.
Absolutely.
All right. Tight end, we'll be real quick here. Tucker Kraft, obviously you're starting tight end there in 11 personnel attempts, 67.8, graded out as the 23rd highest graded tight end of 2024. Although I think we would all agree, played way better than the grade they gave him. My God, that dude had the second or third highest passer rating when targeted amongst tight ends. He was a yak god. He was just, I think the dude's going to be a superstar. That's me personally. So got him starting at tight end at 11. Moving on to receiver, Romeo Doubs, they've got listed as the X. They've got Matthew Golden in the Z, and they got Jaden Reed in the slot, obviously. So Romeo Doubs graded out of 69.7. That was the 57th highest graded receiver. That would suggest he is a starting caliber outside receiver, right? He's in the top 10.
I just caught the ball.
Jaden Reed, 71.7. Obviously, the highest graded receiver, the most productive receiver on the Packers roster. He graded out as the 50th highest graded wide receiver. So playing in the slot, he's probably, if I would imagine you looked at the grades, he's probably somewhere in the top 10, top 15 amongst slot receivers as well. So Matthew Goldman, every time I see that name out wide, Tim, I get excited, man, especially with him in the Z. And imagine Reed going out to the Z.
Yeah.
And Golden coming into the slot and really mixing and matching things. Because then, let's say you lined up like that, then you could go with a jet sweep to Reed as opposed to out of the slot and vice versa. Like there's a lot of things that you can manipulate the defense with because these guys are built somewhat similar in that regard. So receiving room's got me excited, man. This doesn't include Savion. This doesn't include Christian Watson, who we're expecting to get back in November. Some people are saying he might be back in October. I don't know. I say don't rush him back, but if he's ready to go in October, how cool would that be as well? Dontavion Wicks, will he return to rookie form or will the drops continue to be an issue? That's to be determined as well.
Dude, that's a huge X factor, Tay Wicks.
It is.
He's kind of gotten lost in the mix here with all these names and, the draft picks and, the way the receiver room's looking. We got McCole Hardman in the building now. We're I feel like Tay Wicks is kind of lost in the shuffle. And if this dude steps up and returns to that, like you said, that type of performance he had during his rookie year and continues to improve, we're really in good shape. And I agree with you too about Watson. Whether Scoot's ready to come back early or not, that'd be great, right? If he's ready in October, cool. I would still not be in a hurry to rush him back out onto the field. Obviously for, injury concerns for him, you don't want a setback or you don't want him, going backwards, but also like whatever chemistry that this receiving core has built up throughout those first, 8 to 10 games of the season, you don't want to rush Scoot back out there and just expect him to pick up where he left off last year. You know what I mean? So I think having a guy like Matthew Golden and Savion Williams and a guy like Jaden Reed, I think we're going to be okay. And there shouldn't be a sense of urgency with having to feel like you need to get Christian Watson onto the field immediately. Obviously you want him out there immediately. He's a dynamic player, but I don't think you feel, pressured to bring him back too soon. So yeah, this receiving core, man, like what else can you say? If you can, in fact, put Reed out on the boundary and move Matthew Golden into the slot and vice versa, Matt LaFleur is already in the lab cooking up some adjustments to the play sheet. So I'm looking forward to seeing this all pan out.
Definitely. Holmes MD1 says Golden looks smooth as Blanton's bourbon running routes and handcuffed Blanton's. I'm telling you, it's so delicious. Great with eggs in the morning too.
I got to try that next time I come down there and see you.
I need to get you some sent up that way. I got a guy here locally that hooks me up, and we need to get you get you a little Blanton's. If anything, it looks so classy just sitting on the bar at home. You know what I mean?
Love it.
He said, reminded me of young JJ. You know, everything that's those are bold words, Holmes, right? And I like the way you're thinking. Hearing people talk about him in OTAs.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's saying the same thing. Everybody's speaking the same language. Like, this kid looks smooth. Exactly what Holmes said.
I think Holmes is right with the JJ comparison in the sense of especially when it comes to
right.
Yeah, in like the route running, right? The no wasted motion, like super crisp, keeps the line, doesn't deviate, no wasted energy or motion. Everything is direct. And then, yeah, really, really good hands. I totally agree. I can see that comp there. I mean, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. The guy hasn't played a down of football in the NFL yet.
That's what we do, Tim.
That's what we do. And that's why we're fans. There's nothing wrong with being excited about your first round draft pick at wide receiver. So sky's the limit for Matt Golden, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And like I said last night, if it doesn't click right away and he's not an absolute superstar out of the gate, that doesn't mean he's a bad player and a bad pick. It may take a year or two, but I really like what I'm hearing already. Sure. So, Coach Lynn,
we were there with Scoot, right? Scoot dropped a goal ball in week 1 of his rookie season, and everyone thought his career was over. Right. It's like it takes time, guys. We need to be patient.
Yeah. And then we look up 3 years later, and here's like Judah Tom saying Watson's our number 1 receiver, right?
Yep.
We don't play him in that Chicago game. We'd have continued to show it. I don't even want to talk about the Chicago game, Judah.
Nope.
We were very vocal that week going in, like, why is he playing? Romeo was sick. And they said that Christian Watson convinced the coaches and the training staff to let him play. And that's all fine and dandy and everything. But
it's still on the coaches and the training staff because you allowed yourselves to be convinced.
Absolutely. There's no way. I heard some fans saying, well, Watson's got to be smarter than that. No, Watson's a damn competitor. And he seen one of his boys was down with a sickness and said, I'm going to go out there and try to beat our rival. You know what I mean? Yep. So I don't blame Watson, but I'm with you, Tim. The coaching staff, the training staff's got to go, nope, sorry, bub. We're in control. You're sitting on the bench. That has to happen.
Yep.
So completely agree.
And let him be mad. Let him be pissed off about it, right? And then, give him time to cool off, and he'll understand and get over it. Yep.
Exactly. Coach Lynn in the chat says, watching the clip of Savion Williams' route in practice yesterday, it looks like he's wearing a shoulder harness under his red jersey. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that.
Good
Coach
catch, Coach Lynn.
Putting him
confirming my suspicions right there. So it's still the nagging shoulder issue.
There you go. Yeah, it makes sense. So Coach got that coach's eye on. He's like,
yeah, for sure. He saw it right away.
All good says, imagine when we get Watson back early. Completely agree, man. It's gonna be great.
And I just hope that Matt doesn't get too jet sweep happy when Scoot comes back. He's gonna have all these options.
You ain't kidding, man. Coach Lynn says we have 12 wide receivers on the roster. Let the competition begin. It's not even that, Coach. Like, look at the other positions in the like we were just talking about offensive line, right? Like there's 3, maybe 4 linemen that are battling for spots. Like Elton Jenkins, if they get the contract situation taken care of, he's locked in. He's the center. Banks is your left guard. Zach Tom's your right tackle. Right guard and left tackle, it's a competition between 4 players. So you got competition there, Tim. You got Luke Musgrave, who's not going to go just silently into the night. Tucker swooped in, stayed healthy, and took that job from him at tight end. Luke Musgrave gonna have a little chip on his shoulder too. He's gonna be looking to prove some people wrong. That you think he ain't heard everybody calling him, not everybody. You think he ain't heard the stupid Packer fans calling him soft? He's gonna want to go out there and perform. And then, like Coach says, with the wide receiver room, look at the defensive side of the ball that we just covered. My gosh, like when you look at the edge defenders, we're talking about Gary and Lucas Van Ness along with Enigbare, right? Now, think of Barron Sorrell we just drafted. Think of the Colin Oliver tape we watched the other day. Think of Brenton Cox Jr. Brenton Cox Jr. led the team in pressure percentage in terms of anybody who wasn't a stack backer. Like the defensive lineman, Brenton Cox Jr. got more pressure on the quarterback according to NFL Pro. It was Brenton Cox Jr. and then Rashawn Gary. Now, Rashawn Gary had more sacks, obviously, but Brenton Cox Jr. had a higher – I want to say that he was it was less than a full percent difference, but he was higher than Rashawn Gary on pressuring the quarterback. Gary was well over 13%, which you guys know anything over 10% is really good. So you got competition there, Tim, at the edge position. We talked about the cornerback room. You add Nate Hobbs into the mix, right? And you've got, like Like I said, Bullard's going to be battling for that slot spot. You got Keyshawn Nixon trying to prove his worth on the outside. Carrington Valentine led the team in passer rating when targeted. This is not including Jair. If Jair's here, my gosh, you're going to have these guys. They're going to be clawing and battling for those other spots. And not to mention you bring in Isaiah Simmons at linebacker, who could potentially battle with Quay Walker as that second linebacker in the nickel 4-2-5. And he's damn sure going to compete with Isaiah McDuffie. That's already starting in terms of the 4-3 base.
For sure. Talking about the competition, and Coach Len's right. I mean, look at the wide receiver room. That's the one that sticks out the most, probably, right? But you brought up tight end, man, and happy belated birthday to Ben Sims, man. Just turned 25 years old. Do not forget about Ben Sims. He's solid, right? And we know in that tight end room it's Tucker Kraft and everyone else, right? Okay. Luke Musgrave, maybe he takes a step in the right direction this year. Another great thing that could happen for this offense. But I look at Ben Sims, man. I feel like the tape on him last year, man, he played some damn good football for the Packers. And he's a guy that I'm looking forward to seeing out there this year at camp as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Let's see here. Chase Green in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Says, I would like to see Quay in coverage. Let Cooper and McDuffie tackle in the box. Completely agree, Chase. I would like to see Quay covering the seam, when we're playing those Tampa 2 looks. And who knows, Hafley may get completely away from Tampa 2 this year, but we played quite a bit of it last year. That's what Quay does well, is covering vertically, right? And completely agree with what he's saying with Cooper and McDuffie underneath him. That seems to be their strength, right? Is those hook curls, those curl flats, spine, especially with Cooper, a little touch spine in the middle, engage with the center, then drop back, play a little spy. Then you get the straight blitzes and things like that, where he was very, Quay's very effective at rushing the quarterback too when they bring those scrapes with him as well. But
true,
I'm with Chase here. Now here's the problem.
I agree though. I agree with that.
If that's all you do, teams are going to catch on, and they're going to know, okay, I know what his assignment is because they do it every time. That's why it's important for all of them to be able to mix and match and do everything good. That's
why we've got tape of McDuffie flying up the seam, trying to cover a receiver, because you got to mix up those looks, right? I've always felt that way. I've said it before about Javon Bullard, that I feel like he's a linebacker trapped in a safety or corner's body.
Right.
And then I look at Quay and I'm like, Quay might be a safety trapped in a linebacker's body, the way that he plays the game. You talk about guys that are effective as pass rushers when they need to be, but are really good coverage skills. I think with Bullard, he's probably got to work on his coverage a little bit more than a guy like Quay. Yeah, man, full circle, Quay needs to take a step, right? We were looking for it last year, and I don't think he took it. Let's just say that in a nice way. I don't think he took that gigantic step forward, but I don't think Quay regressed in his game. I think he was kind of more the same. Maybe he's plateaued at this point in his career, but I certainly think year 4 here in the starting lineup, this is a make or break year for Quay Walker for sure. This is gonna determine what the rest of his professional career is gonna look like, I think. So something else to keep an eye on for sure.
Definitely. 2-0 for this in the chat says Sims is tight end 2 until proven otherwise. I want to agree with you, 2-0 for this, but man, it's been a second round pick on Luke Musgrave. They're going to give him every opportunity possible. There's no two ways about that. Yep. I'm with you. I kind of agree about the whole Sims thing. Like if we scroll down to 12 and we're out of time, we'll just hit this real brief here. But if we go down to 12 personnel, you add Musgrave in. I mean, it's ugly to look at, Tim. Granted, there was minimal snaps last year, but 47.1. I think Musgrave's way better than that. But the grade is the grade, and I think we would all agree he has not performed like a second-round tight end so far. So I can understand where 2-0 for this is coming from. But if I had to bet the farm, put a little money on it, 2-0 for this, Musgrave's going to be tight end 2.
Probably. And Sims would be 3. I would think.
Right. And that's how the league works, man. Draft picks, that speaks volumes, So
hey, lucky for all those guys and those old linemen included that they got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Makes it pretty easy. He's a guy that you can half-ass block and he's still going to find a way to turn it into 30 yards upfield. So takes a little pressure off your tight ends and your O-line having a guy like Josh Jacobs around for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, guys. So again, we get the efficiency charts here in this article as well. You can find all this at our Patreon page. Just go to patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access or scan the QR code in the upper right. $3 tier gets you access to everything there. If you want to be generous and go one of the higher tiers, we greatly appreciate it, but don't feel obligated to do that. It also gets you entered into the giveaways, which anyone who's in the $3 tier is going to be entered into the contest for an autographed rookie Kingsley Enagbare card that we're going to be giving away this Saturday on the show. So make sure you check that out. Again, just want to point out this stuff's in here, all the EPA rankings, the percentage of plays, personnel. You can go in there and study all that. And we also gave an explanation of what EPA is. I know people have asked that question before. Here's a detailed breakdown from the 33rd team, just talking about how EPA is charted and how everything kind of comes into focus there. It's essentially a grading scale where they can take every player, look at the specific situation, and come up with a point value attached to every single play. It's essentially grading every play based off of the specific situation. So all that is right there, easily accessible, along with those PFF grades charts and everything in our Patreon group. So, Tim, you got anything else, Bob? Anything at all?
I guess shout out our other giveaway, the Dorsey Levens jersey.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Big shout out. Make sure you go check it out. Donate if you can. GiveButter.com/KRPSJ5 for your chance to win that autographed Dorsey Levens jersey. One of my certainly top 10 ball carriers ever in Green Bay. Love me some Dorsey Levens for sure.
Stand-up guy too, man.
Yep.
God, what a great human being. But yeah, you can also go to my Twitter account at Packers_access. The link is in there, easily accessible. It's pinned at the top of the page. You click on that link, it takes you to the donation page. For every $5 donated, you get your name entered into the contest one time. Okay. And same as we do our other giveaways, we'll take everybody's name. We'll, duplicate the names that donated more money and put them on the wheel, and we'll spend that sucker in July. It's going to run all through the month of June. Let's blow their minds. It's just a great cause over at My Autism Connection, building hope, community, and independence for autistic adults. Just a way for us to be a blessing to other people and give yourself a chance to win an autographed jersey. That I purchased that jersey. It's got the certificate of authenticity, the sticker, all that stuff from Pristine Auction. So everything is legit. And yeah, you want to donate to a good cause, you give yourself a chance to win that. So, and like we said, the best way to support what we do is patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. Tim, appreciate your time, Bubba.
Thanks for having me, Clay.
And then we'll see y'all tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Give a shout out real quick to the leaderboard. I love doing this on YouTube real fast. Who are the top in the leaderboard tonight? Is it a big tie? It is. It's a 9-man tie again. But it looks like number one, the tiebreaker went to Allen, and it doesn't show me the full name, KUFA, and there's different names in the chat for him. If I can find his profile pic, I'm sure he'll be, as Coach Prime says, I'm not hard to find. Let's see if we can find his profile pic here. I know he was one of them that we highlighted earlier. Of course,